that high level that he's had and that you've had?
Well, there's very few people that do it, that can do it, that long. So it's hard, and I've been blessed because, I'm young, and we've had a lot of consistency and a lot of success. But I think what I've learned more than anything is keep the main thing. Have some structure that you believe in, and create continuity. I think that's important. And then just, be passionate about the little things. I think that's some of the main things that I learned from him. We've been an incredibly consistent program. We're going to stay a consistent program. I mean, I know some people that have written they've closing the book on it's over. Like the book of Clemson is done. See you in 30 years. Man, we're just getting started. So I think you got to reset every year, and that's what we've always tried to do. And you don't flinch. You don't get caught up in the outside. You stay focused, on what matters and what reality. You got to know reality from perception, and stay focused on that. But it's hard. There's not many. Programs out there that have been able to have the type of consistency that he had. Very few coaches that have longevity, especially today. I mean, they'll fire you in year one, they'll fire you in year two. It's just kind of the way it is. I think a different time back when he was coming along, but it's really, really hard. It's really hard to have great consistency. So to me, the mindset is, man, you got to always be building. You got to always, and I think that's what Coach Saban does a great job of at Alabama. You got to always be building. You always, always striving. You're always starting over. You're always resetting. You're always building. You don't want to. So that's kind of, I've had people ask me that. They'll say, is it harder to build it or sustain it? And I'm like, I don't know. We're still building, I think when you start having the mentality of you're trying to sustain something, you're already beat. You got to always be under construction.
You said you're planning on coaching. You want to coach 20 more years?
Well, how old's Hicks? He's 70. I got a long way to go to catch him, man. I got a long way to go. Of course, he might still be coaching at 90. I know I'm not going to 90, but I got a long way to go. I figure, I got at least 20 more. We'll see what happens.
Dabo, last week you were talking about leadership, and it's got to be a team thing. Everybody on the field has to lead to a degree, but when you lose a guy like Matt Bockhorst, who's so vocal and has such a presence, do you need an individual person to step up, or is it?
I think we've got to do that as a staff. I think it's very important. Player leadership is always an aspect of every great team. But when you get in a situation like this, and you got a lot of players looking for leadership, looking for direction. Because there's just a lot of inexperience and a lot of guys that haven't really kind of been in a situation like this. So it's an opportunity for us to lead, and they've got to make the choice to follow and to listen, and to block out all the noise. And again, that's why this will be valuable for us as we continue our journey to many, many more great moments along the way. This will be valuable for a lot of these young kids. We've got a very talented group. We got a very talented young group on this team that's just going to get better. I promise you.
Kind of along the same lines, just with some of the mental mistakes and then lack of confidence at times, how do you try to build guys up and kind of toe that line between wanting to encourage but also correcting?
Yeah, well, I think you just gotta keep swinging that hammer, man. You just got to keep at it. You just can't grow weary from it. You got to keep showing them, keep reinforcing it. Catch them doing something good. Not just something bad. All those things, and practice. And then eventually they need a little success. Just need a little bit of success, and that'll get us in the right direction. But you have to correct and you have to challenge, but you gotta catch them doing something good too. And there's a lot of good things happening. It's just not collectively, as a group what we need, and we haven't been opportunistic. We just haven't. We got to win the turnover margin. We've had unbelievable opportunities, and we've not been opportunistic. You can just take, 8 plays in the game the other night. I mean, just don't change anything. You leave everything the same, but, we miss a post throw for a touchdown. The kid's wide open to Bo. I mean, you can't get it. He ran a great route. Can't be any more open, and, we throw the ball a little late, a little short, and back, and he's got to kind of stop and allows the guy. I mean, it's that's an opportunity, and we keep the drive going. We get the ball down to the 25 and first down. We got a little play action play, and they bring in field pressure, and I thought we could have sat in there and probably still made the throw, but we kind of flushed out a little quick and tried to force one on the sideline to Justin. Just throw the ball away, right? In a second, we're going to get points. We're going to at least get a field goal, and opportunity, right there. And then we score a touchdown, and but then we come back another play, and we got a 63-yard touchdown dialed up, and make great, unbelievable protection, beautiful throw, and we don't make the play. So we've got to be a little more opportunistic because we don't have that kind of room for error right now, and then obviously the shovel 6. Those are. So you miss 2 scoring opportunities on that first drive there, second drive there, and then the touchdown drop. Those are 2 scoring opportunities that are there, and we're just not very opportunistic. And then the shovel 6 was a very critical play in the game, for sure, with a good drive going. And then defensively, we have the 3rd and 7. Big play touchdown, great play, great coverage, unbelievable throw, great catch. That's football. We have a huge bust on the throwback. That was a big play bust. That's 2 plays. And then you got 2nd and 18, and we get a really critical penalty. Critical, which leads to 4th and 5, and we probably didn't put them in the best scenario right there, but it's a touchdown with 40 seconds, and if you hold them to a field goal right there, and they weren't even in field goal run, but if you hold them to it was 10-7 at the half, and so I mean those are we're just not very opportunistic right now, but that'll turn, and then we lose the turnover margin, and it's hard to. It's just that's a tough area for us. We won 2 in a row. We won the turnover margin twice in a row. Critical penalties is something that has hurt us a little bit too. So, but we'll battle through it.
How different do you have to coach a young team, a young offense like this, as opposed to the last few years when you had?
Very different, because you're dealing with some basics, some very basics, especially some of the things we're doing out at receiver. And last week, we had a Joe who's basically a freshman. And Bo, who I love and who's getting better, and you had Justin, and so just Dakari's a true freshman, and that's what we got. So last year we had a 5th-year guy and a 4th-year guy, and a quarterback that's the first pick in the draft that's very, very experienced, and it's different conversations. 5 offensive linemen with a lot of continuity. But that's where we are. So but they're going to get it because we got good kids. We got good kids, and the injuries have been a problem because we got a lot of guys that are missing some opportunity. Taquan would have helped us. John Williams would have helped us. Dietrich would have had a chance, I think, to be a starter for us. What a talented freshman he is, and so it's unfortunate that those guys haven't been able to get the work, but these young guys, man, Marcus Tate. Hey, he's going to be special. T.O.'s getting better. Rayburn, redshirt sophomore. starting to really come on for us. Trotter's doing some good things. McFadden's had a great year. He's had a great year. He really has. Proud of him. Walker Parks, I thought he did not play well against, Syracuse, but man, he bounced back, and he's had a very solid year as well. He's a young sophomore, first-year starter. So we've got some good things happening, but as far as how you coach them, I mean, it's the very basics of their position and the basics of what we do on offense.
Dabo, you've spoken so much about the youth of this team. So many of these guys have grown up. The guys you're counting on, so many of them have grown up really only associating Clemson with dominance and success. Do you think some of that plays into them pressing on the field at all?
Sure, yeah, because it's a lot of outside noise out there, and it's tough on these guys. But that's part of learning and part of growing too. As I said, I mean, you almost have to relearn how to win. In some, we have a plan to win. Well, I guess they take it out of here, but it's we have a plan to win, and learning how to execute that plan to win. And how important the little things are, but that's our job as coaches. Is just teaching those things and instilling those things in the proper way, and sometimes the best way to learn is you got to touch the stove. Sometimes that's the best way to learn.
I think Makuba only played 12 snaps last week. Was there anything going on, injury-wise or anything?
No, just kind of. I think where Jalen Phillips has really improved, Mickens has really improved, and just kind of how the game worked out. But man, there's a true freshman. It's got a really, really bright future ahead, and I'm excited about what we're doing for the most part on the back end. I think we've done some good things for the majority of the year. And again, defensively, wasn't our best game the other night, but 20 points is plenty enough to win. I mean, we just haven't been able to get it done on offense. It's as simple as that.
On the deep to intermediate throws, is DJ missing those in practice, or is that something simply not being executed in the game?
Well, he's hit a bunch of them, and we hadn't caught them. It's not all on DJ. I mean, he's certainly missed his share, and has, trying to create an illusion that he's up for the Davy O'Brien. He's not played anywhere near as well as we need him to play, or he's going to play. He's had some really good moments, but we haven't been consistent enough around him either. He hasn't been consistent enough, and we haven't been consistent enough around him anywhere. The good news is where we struggled early, running the ball, we've turned a corner there. We've made a lot of improvement, and so I'm pleased with that. And that has created some opportunities in the passing game. We just, as I said, have not been very opportunistic, and and it's not what I've seen in practice. We just haven't quite carried it to the game day yet, to the field, but eventually it'll happen. And some of that has been continuity. DJ and really trusting what's up front, and he's had 3 different centers, and so I think he's been affected by that. He's been affected by disappointment. He's been affected by just the transition and all. It's it comes with it, but he'll be just fine. He'll be just fine.
Dabo, you mentioned the outside noise and people yelling at DJ. When you've been out and about recently in the Clemson metro area, have you experienced?
Well, people don't want to make eye contact with me, man. It's like I got the plague or something. Man, I'm getting a lot of praying for you texts. I got people dropping random letters in my mailbox at home. I mean, it's a lot of. I'm hearing from people that that I hadn't heard from in a long time. Hey, you know who you are. You stay true. I mean, I'm getting a lot of those. So, yeah, it's like you got a stink on you. Nobody wants to be around you. I got a lot of people, but we're gonna be fine. I promise you. I appreciate that though. But
Coach Norvell burying the hatchet.
I I don't never know of a hatchet. I've talked to him many times, whether it be on conference calls or saw him at Coach Bowden's funeral. And, you know, I will say this, he's done a great job, man. He's done a really good job holding it together, you know, really challenging situation that he took over there. And not only taking over a challenging situation, but it's COVID as well, and kind of, you know, the challenges of the year. But you know, they've done a good job, and, you know, they've had different personnel, but really settle in on this quarterback and really, you know, scheming their offense, you know, and tailoring it to what fits their personnel and using it in a very good way. So I think they've done a great job. Defense is playing well, playing with a lot of passion. They're playing with great effort. And again, two heartbreaking losses. But I think he's gotten some good players in there. I mean, you know, personnel-wise, they had a lot of holes, lots of holes. You know, a lot of guys had transferred, et cetera. And so they brought in some good transfer guys that have been able to help them, along with their signing class as well. And so I think they've done a nice job.
Do you notice maybe not as many after the whistle antics and things like that you might have seen in years past? Like, can you see that culture taking root?
You know, I mean, I just see a team that hasn't quit, and I think that says all you need to know. I mean, 0-4 and some heartbreaking losses, and it's a you know, there is no established, you know, I mean, you're just getting there and really you've just had your first off season, your first summer, you know, because you didn't get any of that in 20. I think all you need to know about what they're doing is how these kids have responded, you know, because they have not quit and they've competed their butts off and they're playing with some confidence. And, you know, I think that's all you need to know. That, you know, 11 turnovers in the first 4 games, 3 in the last 3. I think they've got it going in a good direction.
Dabo, how have you seen DJ respond in the last couple of days since you essentially announced the quarterback competition was over?
He's been great. That was the one disappointment, and one of the disappointments in the game the other night is he didn't get a chance to go back in, you know, because I loved how he responded. You know, he didn't pout 1 second, and not only that, he went when he did go back in, we went right down the field and scored. And you know, we just didn't get the ball back to have another shot. I would have liked to have seen him, you know, let's get the ball and, you know, 10-point game with 5 minutes or whatever, and let's see how he, you know, handles that situation. But it wasn't to be. But I was proud of how he responded, and he's been, you know, DJ's he gets it, and he's a very self-aware kid. He's very conscientious, and I promise you, he cares a bunch, and he's got to get better, and we all got to get better to help him. And he's gonna have a lot more good days than he has bad days when it's all said and done.
But when Tyler had his surgery, you said he could be out maybe 7-8 weeks. I mean, what just has his recovery been like? When did you first know you might be able to get him back sooner? Yeah,
you know, I that's kind of how I felt. I didn't really expect him to be back. I thought maybe Louisville was what I was kind of hoping for. If not Louisville, definitely by, you know, Wake Forest. That was kind of what was in my mind. But, you know, I mean, he's just nothing surprises with Tyler Davis. I mean, that kid is so passionate about playing, and he and Brzee are the same way, you know, when it comes to just their love of the game, their love of the details of the game. And Brian's doing well, you know, also. But yeah, I was like, really? Because I thought we would get him this week for sure. You know, when I was in here last Tuesday, I'm like, you know, he's probably not going to be ready this week. We're going to get him. But then he you know, he goes out there and did a little bit more on Tuesday, and then, you know, Wednesday night, you know, they're coming to me and saying, hey, he's because I'm trying to set the travel roster and I don't have him on it, and you know, so they've got a full-out campaign to get him on the plane, you know, between him and his dad and the doctors and everybody, the defensive staff, and so anyway, that was kind of how that all transpired. So that's just who he is. That's how he's wired. But proud of him, and excited to see him have a little more opportunity this week. He's worked hard, and the doctors have done a good job, and they've got him in a thing where his arm can't, the bicep can't extend fully, so that helps him.
Go to a couple questions from Zoom.
Zoom is asleep today. They gave up. They're done. They said 4-3. We'll see you next year. I will say this. Also a little bit of perspective for everybody, and again, this is a game, and it's tough when you're very passionate about something and you put so much in it, and you know how much people care, and you hate to disappoint people. That's a hard thing. But we get home the other night. I get a call early Sunday morning, and Landon Zander's house burned to the ground, and Landon was the only one in the house asleep. And we're really fortunate that he's still with us because he says he sleeps with a fan on, and the only reason he woke up is because the fire department had come, and I guess they turned the power off. And he said, and that woke him up. The fan wasn't on, and he wakes up, and there's just nothing but fire and smoke, and he literally kind of crawled and felt his way out. They didn't even know there was anybody in the house, but the house burned down, and but man, just y'all keep the Zanders family in your thoughts and prayers, and thankfully nobody was hurt, and they've got insurance and all that stuff, and Landon said he thinks it came from a fire pit. I guess it was a windy night, and so also, if you got a fire pit, make sure that thing is out, fully. But so a little bit of perspective and gratefulness that the Zanders family's okay.
Was that his family?
Yeah, his dad's house. He was with his dad.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Background